I'd just like to introduce ourselves. I know many of you already. I'm Jeremy Summers, the chair and one of the trustees of TEX+. And we're joined today by fellow trustees Jill Gledhill and Joanna Bowering. I think Claire Johnson is coming along later as well. And we have Sam Fricker, who's our administrator, and she's here with us today in the background organising everything, which is great. And a big welcome also to Claire Whiston and Paul Vogel, who are joining us today. We really thought it would be a great idea to bring all the different sides of TEX+ together, and also share things about what's going on with the judges and as trustees, and from your perspective. We decided today what we're going to do is split today up into two sections. The first section, we thought it would be really good to have a recap and go through the tutors deck, just a recap on submissions, nominations, so we can introduce you also to the new heat system that we are bringing in this year. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then after we've been through that, I will open the floor up to Claire and Paul. Be really interesting to hear their perspectives as judges online and in-person interviews as well, with regards to what their experience has been like over the last couple of years, and also historically, also with the previous charity TextPrint and TEX Select, and talk about the opportunities TEX+ is offering, and a little bit about the kind of criteria, the things that they think are important for students to consider in their portfolios. And yeah, so let's get started. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. Bear with me 2 seconds. And don't need that. Where are we? Sorry, bear with. So I'm presuming everybody can see my screen. So basically, we put together this deck we sent out. I'm presuming everybody's received it and has actually read through it. So I really don't probably need to go into too much detail, but just as a recap on what we're doing. I mean, we're really excited to be delivering another showcase for TEX+ this year, and looking forward to seeing some of the exciting work that's going to be coming out of the universities, guided by all you amazing tutors doing a fantastic job. This is a picture of Beth Lingard on the screen, and she came from Leeds Arts University and is now doing a placement at Liberty Fabrics, and gained a lot of interest, and is also being mentored by one of our judges. So a really great golden opportunity for her, and she also won a cash prize as well, I think. So basically, just moving through this quite quickly, as I said, I'm going to move on to here first of all. I'm sure you're all aware of the registration date has already started and goes up until the 16th of March. If I'm presuming that most of the people here today have actually signed up already. If you haven't, please do be aware of the dates, and the 16th of March is the cutoff for that. There is a fee, which is a one-off fee. It's not per submission, obviously. It's just a fee of £195, which does need to be paid by the 16th of March. Once you've officially signed up, Sam will send out an invoice to you with all the details about payment. Obviously, we're having the online tutors questions and answers today. The thing I think is really important to stipulate at this stage, and just before we move forward, is that we kind of see the whole process of what we do at TEX+, and also from your side, as being 4 different stages. The first stage obviously being the submission of portfolios from your final year students up to ArtsThread. Now, some of the universities are incredible. They're on it. They are getting their students familiar with it and getting them to upload their portfolios. And that's been fantastic. However, there are is some hesitation sometimes. And we really would encourage you all, if possible, to get as many students as possible. Obviously, it's up to them at the end of the day, but also to understand it's an amazing opportunity to start putting your portfolio together and think about presenting your work. And it's the first time you're really sort of going out into the world as designers or as future designers. So that's why we would encourage you to really try and get all of your final year students to upload. And I know that's a tough call sometimes, and I'm sure you get some resist, but that would be amazing. So basically, once the students have all uploaded, we then have your nominations. So by the 16th of March, we need to have your nominations in place. As I say, the nominations are separate from the submissions. The submissions basically can be your whole year on the final year students. Your nominations, I think the total, and please correct me somebody if I'm wrong, is up to 20 students can be nominated from each university. This is really up to you, and we'll be talking later with Claire and Paul about the things that maybe could influence the people you're choosing to upload their portfolios for the final nominations. So basically, there is a deadline of the 8th of May, which is the final deadline for your nominations, which all portfolios do need to be added to Arts Thread. Really, really important. And one of the things I also want to mention is it comes up further in detail, but we are increasing the amount of images you can upload per student this year, or they can upload up to 20. And obviously we want them to tell us about their work, but we do think that some of the videos last year were incredible, and it really did give us an insight into their portfolio in a different way. And a moving image is something we're so used to these days. So if there is any way you can encourage them, give them some tutorials, I'm sure they're used to uploading videos. We'd rather it be about their work than a portrait of themselves talking into the camera, because sometimes that can come over slightly strange and they can be quite nervous. That said, it is really up to the individual to present in which way they want. But we would encourage you to encourage the students to upload a video as well, if possible. Obviously, if you have any questions about the uploading process, please contact us and we can fill you in on the details. So from those who are selected, it usually works out to be around the 200 mark. All those students then go forward to the online judging section. Now, the difference this year about what we're doing is instead of having all of the portfolios to be judged by 40 to 50 judges online, which is quite a tall task for the judges, we are now splitting them into 4 heats. So what we'll do is we'll look at the specialisms. We will split them evenly. I say it's a bit like the World Cup, but you know, not being a football person myself, but so not familiar with it, but it's the same sort of thing. But basically, obviously, specialisms will be split into 4 groups evenly, depending on the number, and we will split also the specialisms evenly between the 4 groups. Then the judges will be allocated to each group. The judges will be expected to mark across all disciplines. We don't want anybody to be judging their own specialism alone this time. Basically, we want the system to work as smoothly as possible. And this way we can also encourage more judges to come along and be part of the process, which would be amazing. And it's great also as this being the second stage of what we do, because it is really the first time that their portfolios are going to be seen by industry members and professionals in fashion and textiles. In some cases, not just in the UK as well. We had in the first year, we had people from Italy, Como Mills judging as well. So it is a golden opportunity for them to be seen. From the 200 or so students who go through to the online judging stage, we then select the 50 students who will go. So I'm just going to whiz forward slightly. We have so just you can see. So basically the details again, you have obviously, we'll go into criteria a bit later. I'm just talking about procedure at the moment, but this is basically, if you've seen it already, gives you an idea about the online judging stage. So after that, we then go through, and based on the markings of each 4 groups, the best 12 of each group, the people with the highest votes will then be put forward to the in-person interviews. So once they go through to the interview stage, we will then inform them of dates which are available, where they will then come in front of a panel, either at the Pentland Brands or at Liberty Fabrics, who have very kindly offered their premises again, both of them for interviewing this year. It's a wonderful experience to come, and we often have somebody from Liberty Fabrics on the panel as well. So and lots of industry experts. So it's a fantastic opportunity for them, even if they don't get through to the finalist stage. From this stage onwards, their portfolios will then be on our website as the shortlisted. So each year, if you can go back onto the website and you can view all the shortlisted students whose portfolios will be there with a link to their ArtsThread portfolio. So just back again to the submissions, as I said before, you know, a statement up to 300 words, and we said 20 pieces of work. They can include sketchbooks and research as well, although they should also really be aware of the impact of what they're showing. I mean, 20 pieces is quite a lot, but I'm sure we're all, as you're all aware these days, people react strongly to strong images, and I think it's good to have a balance between process and final results as well. But one thing obviously we're aware of is the deadlines in connection to them working on their final major project. So we would encourage everybody to upload their portfolios as soon as possible. Obviously they can change it as they go along, but if they've got to start earlier and put some work up, they can always add to it and change it as they go along. But it would be wonderful if you could encourage them all to upload their work as soon as possible, bearing in mind obviously their deadlines with their final major project and the amount of body of work they have at that time. So yeah, basically once the interviews are done, we then have the results, and we then obviously make the final selection based on all of the results from the interviews, and we inform all the students, and then we will be probably going forward. It's not completely confirmed whether venue will be this year, but it is more than likely to be Chelsea, and they have been very accommodating as always, and we're incredibly thankful for them for allowing us to secure dates for that in July. However, we have a few other possibilities of collaborations coming up, which we'll be able to reveal later in the year. If you're not familiar with us, this is myself and the trustees in the group and our honorary treasurer, and we have Sam, who is not on this page, who is incredible building up the background of what we're trying to achieve. She is so on board with everything. It's fantastic. And just a little background, you know, in the past, TextPrint and TextSelect, basically the results of people who went through as finalists into and showcased their work, the amount of jobs which were generated through them taking part in the process is far more above the average in the sort of national average. So there is a real incentive for people to come on board and for us to help build the charity. We also obviously have several parts of the charity where we have prizes, which are often money prizes, which I think this year, I don't quote me on this quite yet, but we're in discussions about increasing some of the prizes in terms of there being other prizes as well. Some of the students, it's a really amazing thing to be given, let's say £1,000 towards starting their own business or working on buying equipment, or in the first year we had Scarlett Farah from Brighton University, who went on to buy her first loom and is doing incredibly well, doing a residency, I think, up in the north of England at the moment. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, lots of opportunity and job opportunities. We are really keen to really make more and more people aware of the good work we're doing at Text Plus and the opportunities that arise. It's just amazing, as we've mentioned before, the 4 stages of, you know, going through to the finalists stage. It's an incredible opportunity for them to have visibility and to be able to present their portfolios, and it's so lovely to see their enthusiasm coming through. It's just one of the most joyous things. Last year, I won't talk too much about the showcase this year. We have a few things in the pipeline which are really exciting. Last year we had Lee Adelcourt giving her talk, which was very well received, and was another great opportunity having her there. We are at the moment discussing what's going to happen this year, so watch this space because it could be really exciting. Yes, and as I mentioned, the awards, we also have, we give out not just prizes, but we also have awards for different areas where we think people are showing excellence in their work. Yeah, and to remain connected, we encourage the students. The last 2 years, we're in communication with all of them. We have the amazing Bonnie, who was a student from Glasgow, I think, from the first year, who does the most incredible embroidery, who is also running our social media campaigns. And we are in connection with all of the students, the finalists from both years, and talking about what they're doing. We're updating the website at the moment, introducing a newsletter where there are updates about what all the students are doing, also on social media. Just to summarize once again, kind of the timeline and our impact that we're having. Obviously, we have the spring with the interviews. Then we have the showcase, but going onward, as I've mentioned before, we really want to obviously foster long-term relationships with industry, which is really, really important for us. And yeah, that is a lot about our process. Just want to bring this up again. Thank you, all of you, for signing up. If you have signed up, these are the people who have participated over the last 2 years. I think we have a couple of new people joining us this year, which is amazing, incredible. And yeah, we would encourage everybody to sign up if you haven't. If you have, thank you so much. And we're looking forward to receiving your students' work. Obviously, we have funding from we have some new donations coming into the charity as well. We're building on this all the time, gaining momentum. And it really feels like after 2 years now, the word is out there, and TEX+ really is becoming something really important, as trying to assist you in all your amazing work to bridge the gap between students, education, and industry, and becoming a professional designer. So yes, that is basically a presentation of the process of submissions, nominations. I hope that was all clear. What I'd like to do now, before we open up to any questions from everybody, I'd like to hand over to Paul and Claire, and it would be really interesting to have some feedback from you both. Thank you so much for joining us today, both of you, to hear feedback about your experience as a judge. I know you've both judged online and in person, done interviews as well. And what would be your thoughts about talking to students about how they are preparing their portfolios for presenting to TEX+ and uploading to ArtsThread, and what's your experience been, and what sort of things are you looking for, criteria? What do you think would help in you know, assisting today? Claire?
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure, I can't see everyone because not everyone's up. So if you don't know me, my name's Claire Whiston, and I have run a print studio for like nearly 40 years. I actually started out as a knitter. I just want to say that because I actually was part of TEX Print back in the day, and you know, had a knit collection. And what I want to say is that as judges, it's really fantastic to see across all the disciplines, because what you're trying to do is we're trying to get the best we can across all disciplines. And of course, it's always exciting when some of the portfolios are a mix of embroidery or so we are really open-minded, and we want to encourage the creativity in the portfolios. I would like to say last year the system has changed, because there were about 260 portfolios last year, and I spent 4.5 days. It took me 10 minutes a portfolio, and I read every single line of every single profile and watched every video, and completely and utterly was mesmerized by the breadth of choices of projects and passions with the students that you're teaching. So I would encourage you to put forward as many as possible, because it's on my first deduction, I couldn't get down below 60 portfolios. That's how wonderfully creative our students are and your students are. So getting this portfolio together and getting up on ArtThread and them sort of thinking through the process quite early on starts them thinking automatically about how to market themselves, because you have this massive work and you've got these ideas, but it is actually a fantastic way of honing in on who you are, what you think about your work. You know, do you want to set up your own business? Are you looking for a job? Where does your passion lie? And what what this opportunity gives you, TEX Plus gives you, is the most amazing sort of springboard to, in a way, meet people across, to help you with all those scenarios. So one of my things was, I love the personal approach at the beginning. As Jeremy said, the 1 minute videos are really insightful, because it gives you the moment to sort of show your fabrics or anything you have, and we can see the movement. It's not such a static experience. It's so lovely to see you putting things together yourself, how you see your samples or your drawings working together. So I really would encourage the video. It's so exciting to see the portfolios coming alive, even for that minute. Everyone, I think we're at a point in our industry where, you know, the personalization of the final projects has become really exciting. You know, people making their own fabrics, people making their own dyes, thinking about sustainability, all of the criteria that that we're judging on. In fact, Jeremy sort of said he'd maybe come back to that, but there are sort of those things we're looking for, sort of ideas for sustainability, and on that first page. I find it really fascinating to see the journey progress. I love the final samples and the way the students choose to show it on you know, fashion images or draping, or any way they choose. For us as judges, the key thing is to make sure that within those 20 pictures you do show the development stage in the middle. We really do want to see the work in progress. So particularly for printers, I think it's really important to show drawings and work, not just the final bit, because it shows us your thought process, and it actually shows us a slightly different side to your talent, because we can see how those first exciting moments, you know, progress to the final point. So please don't just think it's got to be finished samples, and because of the timing, it would be great for you to add in work in progress. Is that helpful, Jeremy?
That's really good. Yeah, thank you, Claire. That's really useful. I'll come back to you in a minute. I've got a couple of questions I wanted to ask you, but Paul, maybe as a very respected weave designer, be really interesting to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, I'm Paul Vogel. I've got a woven studio, but I basically work in fashion and interiors, and I've had the studio for 30 odd years. But I've also been an educator as well, so I've worked on both sides, and so I'm sort of really interested. Well, I wanted to let you all know that we understand the students' position, because we've all been students, but we've also been on the other end. So we're running our studios and going to Premier Vision and visiting clients, and so we're sort of looking for the, you know, in the work we're looking for that. We're looking for that spark of imagination, those ideas. And so we are, and we can see in the finished product the resolved ideas, but we are looking for how the students are sort of using their ideas and pushing them forward. But I think that it's really, I think this is a really, I'm, you know, to be totally honest, I've got to the age where I've got friends whose children are now graduating and they're asking for advice. And I literally sent someone a message yesterday and I was like, Text Plus, Arts Threads, like graduate, fashion awards, new designers. And that, to be totally honest, obviously we're pushing our, our things important to us, but those are the three things that your students are going to apply for if they want to move forward. And basically, I think it's the same thing, isn't it? We're looking for, color, variety of work, technique, a range of fabrics, the video, and that that them putting themselves forward. So I think that as Jeremy said, every step getting onto ArtSthread is really important. They're talking about using it as a way of digitally timing your work, putting a timestamp on your work, so that going forward, if anything happens or anyone rips them off, it can be it's proven that you've done the work. So even that's just a fantastic thing for the students and to get their portfolios out there. And then also remember that all the judges that are looking at the work are all in the industry. So they're actually, so even if some of the students don't get through, their work's being seen by 40 to 50 studio industry people who will then pass them on, or will be excited to help the students. So I think it's all moving forward through college into the world. So so yeah. So I don't know what else.
Oh, just a question. I mean, if
Yeah.
you were obviously judging, just obviously speaking from a weave perspective, when you're on an interviewing panel, what do you think is the thing that sort of stands out the most when somebody first walks in the room and they open up their portfolio? Is there something that you would sort of give as a tip to say what has the wow factor for you, or is it many different things?
I mean, it's lots of things, but I mean, I'm really always attracted to color, so that's all, use of color is always my sort of passion. But I think well, I mean, obviously, we're looking at everything embroidery, print, but as a weaver, you're sort of looking at technique, but also the way you distill it, because it's very easy to throw the kitchen sink in, and so it's almost how you minimalize and sort of not too much texture, not too much yarn, not too much color, but how you play with it. And I think that's what Claire was talking about, the middle bit of which areas you're deciding to use and push forward, and maybe you go back to them and then push them another way. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Claire, was there something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, when we interview the students and there's a panel and you're invited in to Liberties, and you bring your big, huge suitcase with you, and we have all carried 30-kilo bags around the world for 30 years. So I would suggest, don't bring absolutely everything, edit, think about what you want in the bag. But there is no excuse for coming with 3 samples, because we know you can carry a suitcase on wheels. In our day, they didn't come on wheels. But actually thinking about how you put it in the bag for your interview also helped you think about how you show your work. Do you want it headed? Do you want it freeform? Make sure you bring your sketchbooks with you. We don't want to just see your finished work at that final interview stage. But we've been blown away by how people have presented their work, personalised the way they do it. It's really interesting. What will make you stand out? You get that wonderful time slot. It's all about you. We're really excited to meet you. And I think at that point, the people who actually get to get the final 20 odd places and put their work up, that's wonderful. But at the stage of the interview, think about what you want to say about the work and think about how to show it, because we have seen the most beautiful books made from ideas. We've seen the most fantastic ways to present sort of really bulky leather goods, and that is it's about you not showing off but showcasing yourself. So
don't be shy with what you bring. Don't bring everything, but please think about it, because it's so exciting to have that opportunity in front of, 5 or so doyens of the industry looking at your work.
And I think also one thing I would just say on top of that, and I'm sure everybody would agree with me, sketchbooks. It's quite disappointing sometimes when somebody thinks, oh, I didn't bring my sketchbooks with me. It's always, I think all the judges love looking through sketchbooks. It really is a fantastic way. I think Paul and Claire, you'd agree on that one. It's just a really lovely way, an insight into exactly what Claire's talking about, the background to somebody's work. Claire, or both of you actually, sort of in terms of uploading your work to ArtsThread, I mean, looking at the portfolios online when you go onto ArtsThread, what kind of impact do you think is important? Because I think from my perspective, I have sort of things, I think it's great that something's curated rather than it having everything bar the kitchen sink uploaded to ArtsThread. So I'm just keen to hear what advice you'd give about that stage of presenting their portfolios. Paul?
Yeah, I think not too much, and not too much of the wordy stuff. I don't know. Sometimes I go on the ArtsThread thing and it's just an essay on what the work's about, but I know I'm just a visual person, so really I just prefer to look at I know it's good up to a point, but sometimes it's pages and pages. But I think the videos are always really good, and I think what Claire said about it doesn't have to be a headshot. It can be talking about the work and videoing the work. Yeah.
Great. Claire?
Well, of course, the work, in a way, the visuals do have to stand up for themselves. We want to be, oh, that looks gorgeous. We also I understand that it's, they're doing their degree, and actually everything has to be justified and written about. So that's part of the education process, and this kind of is coming off the back of it. So it is great to kind of understand the passion behind the collection. I think Paul's right, it doesn't need lots, but it's the way you curate and it's the way you put things together because you're a designer, you're designing your fabrics, but you're designing the look of what you show us as well. So I think everyone's different, and we want to be inspired by how you put it up, in a way. So think about it, think about what will catch someone's attention, and maybe try and put things together to give different looks from the same idea. So so you kind of try and give us different viewpoints, if
Great.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Can I just say, I meant to say, I think you were right about the mounting and the presenting, that we don't need loads of heavy A1 board. I think you can do it on sheets or tracing paper, or you can keep it light and maybe keep the sample count up and the mount board count down, I suppose.
And no plastic sheaths, or whatever plastic what are they called, those things you put your work in?
Envelopes.
Yeah, we know inside portfolios they have those plastic leaves people put them in, and it's sort of it actually creates a disconnect, I think, as well. So thank you, Paul and Claire. That's really, really useful and helpful information. I mean, I just think probably now it's time to open it up to the group. Obviously, in terms of how this should function, Sam, can I hand over to you to sort of let people, if people want to raise their hand, if they want to speak, please do now. Anna, I see your name's come up. Do you want to? Yeah.
Hiya.
Hi, Anna.
Hiya. I've got a couple of questions. I've just, you've probably said it, Jeremy, but I'm just trying to get it super clear in my mind. So so the students are uploading their project, but obviously they're not going to finish it for another where are we, a couple of months. So you're not actually judging though, right, until the 8th of May. So we're not looking at anything until the 8th of May. Okay, good. And then our students already have a project up on ArtsThread, which will be the kind of precursor to this. Is that a good thing? Are you looking at that as well, or do you not look at that? Is that confusing to have other projects up there?
It can be a little bit confusing.
Yeah, okay.
Please, I don't know, Jill, if you want to speak on this as well, but from my perspective, if they start having different portfolios with different different portfolios work under the same name, it can be confusing sometimes. One of the most important things is that they do, when they submit their work, that they do click on the button which says that they are applying for TEX Plus. There is an extra thing they have, and you'll see then at the bottom of their portfolios, there is a sign from TEX Plus to say that the portfolio has been submitted for that competition. Yeah.
Actually, I think that's a technical question we'll need to go back to ArtThread to find out about, to see whether or not we need to be specific about what's up at any one time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Anna.
Just to say, I've added in the chat the judging criteria list, which is design innovation, technical skills and use of colour, the socio-cultural relevance, sustainability and circularity, and originality and the unexpected.
Thank you, Jill. That's great. So anybody else got any questions at all they'd like to ask at this stage? Or I can't see any hands going up. Anybody else? No? Okay. Well,
sorry, Jeremy. Clary Elton has
I couldn't see anything on this here. Okay, brilliant.
Hi, sorry, I can't turn my camera on for whatever reason, but I just wanted to ask, previously, I remember that when the deadline had passed, we'd been sent a spreadsheet of all our students that had entered from our specific institution. Is that still going to be the case this year, or is it just a question of us keep searching for our students and then from that body then selecting 20? Like, how will it work?
As far as I'm aware, basically, I mean, the submission stage is all of your final year students. And then the idea is that the tutors then will look at all of the final year and make their selection themselves. And you will then submit that list to, last year it was ArtThread, it may be us this year, but we'll define those details later on. But basically, you will then submit the list to us of your nominations.
That will be coming from us this year. So we'll be able to arrange that for you.
So you'll give us the list of all the students that have entered, then we select from it.
Well, that's an interesting question, Claire, because we always presumed that if students have uploaded their portfolios to ArtThread that you would be aware of that. But if you're not, then that's something we need to we probably need to discuss afterwards.
I think sorry, I was just going to say, I think because the deadline for the students uploading is the exact same deadline as us choosing them, it makes it slightly tricky, because in theory you could have a flurry of students like handing in on the afternoon. For example, at NTU, our final year final summative handing is 2 o'clock on the 8th. So I imagine if you're a strategic student, we're going to get a lot of entries on that Friday afternoon when everything's finished. And then, so that's quite a lot of entries for us to then suddenly all together as a team assess and select from. So I just wanted to flag, having the same deadline is logistically potentially tricky, given that teams might not necessarily be able to get all together on that Friday if there's a team of academics selecting, across our knit course, our MA students, as well as our BA textile design. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thanks, Claire.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. I think it's really useful to hear that. What we have built in as a buffer date to liaise with ArtThread to see what the situation is at a midway point, to see what's going on with the uploading, and if there are any gaps in terms of universities that haven't uploaded, we can inform you. And I think at that point, perhaps what we do is give everybody a summary of where we're at for chasing, or for your understanding of who has uploaded so far. But I think we have a little bit of a buffer zone, don't we, Sam? Yeah, so we can build that. We'll come back to you on that.
I think what would be really interesting, Claire, because it's a really interesting point you've raised, and thank you for that. I think that probably if you could let us know, if everybody who's here today, if you can let us know when your students' work is being submitted, it would be quite useful for our timings as well, so we can make sure that everything functions as it should do, and it doesn't cross over too much. Okay, is anybody else want to ask anything? Anybody got anything else they want to add? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. I hope that's been useful. Please do contact us. You have Sam's email address, info@textplus.org, if you have any questions about process, and we will obviously get back to you by return if you know, and try and answer all your questions. But yeah, we're really excited to see all the work this year. So yeah, exciting times, and see you all later in the year. Thank you, everybody.